Brittney Griner, who was imprisoned in Russia in a man's prison, which I had no idea.
Is under fire for extremely aggressive behavior portrayed toward Caitlin Clark, the rookie from last year, the one that has everybody's focus in the WNBA. And this incident has, of course, gone viral online, but also sparked up some other skeletons in Brittney's closet that she probably wants to stay hidden.
Doctors recently disclosed some shocking information regarding Brittney's health, and no, it wasn't a surprise birthday party. Brittney is in complete terror, and to make matters worse, even more bizarre, stay tuned because this hilarious turmoil is about to become really violent, and you won't believe a second of it. Caitlin Clark went into full attack mode, completely upending the situation.
So Brittney Griner has just been banned from the WNBA after this situation with Caitlin Clark is going viral, where she made some extremely racist remarks from the bench after getting fouled out by Caitlin Clark. I mean, this is just insane. Just watch this video.
Not because someone ate the last piece of pizza, but rather because the doctors delivered a truth bomb so large that it caused the WNBA's meticulously constructed woke safe zone to wobble like a Jenga tower in a hurricane, is why Brittney Griner just had a full-blown tantrum. That's correct. The same Brittney Griner who has been yelling, elbowing, and essentially converting women's basketball into a WWE pay-per-view is now terrified because medical professionals have chosen to examine her biological condition in greater detail.
I would have predicted that Brittney Griner might get mistaken for a man.
The worst part is that for 6 years, we've all been told that you can simply declare that you're a woman and instantly be eligible to dominate women's sports, while the other female athletes are left wondering if they should have done the same. However, Brittney didn't simply glide through, "Remember that little gem when she went after Caitlin Clark? That wasn't your typical bad sportsmanship." She really called her a trash white girl because, really, what's a little racism between woke teammates? She literally elbowed her way in and then had a racist tantrum on top of it.
And just called Caitlin Clark a trash effing white girl. Caitlin Clark has been picked on and abused ever since she entered the league in 2024. And now Brittney Griner is joining in on the action, saying that she is an effing white trash white girl because after she fouled out, she decided to take her anger and frustration out on Caitlin Clark. If the roles were reversed, imagine the type of field day the media would be having right now. Let's all remember the character of Brittney Griner. This is the same woman who got caught smoking weed in Russia. And
however, this is where things get juicy, so stay put. The medical disclosures aren't your typical, fascinating stuff. Rather, they raise the possibility that Brittney is playing a whole other game. The WNBA's silence on the subject is deafening, because it entails a degree of physical advantage that most female players can only imagine. This advantage is biologically indisputable.
There are a number of states who are aggressively moving to prevent transgender athletes playing. And I was wondering, where is that going to be on your radar in terms of advocating for athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes to be able to play?
Oh, I mean, that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. You know, everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe.
Talking about qualified medical professionals who have researched bone structure, muscle composition, recuperation patterns, and even injury histories. They're more puzzled than your grandmother is trying to figure out what happened. This isn't some conspiracy concocted by a few internet warriors. Because of Brittney's speech and body language, TikTok trends aren't appropriate for the typical female athlete. Picture a doctor saying, "Wait a minute, that's not a female bone density." "Move along, nothing to see here," the WNBA said, twitching their thumbs.
A trade for the merchant of death and returned him back to Russia for him to continue doing the same shenanigans that he was doing before he got arrested. He sold $10 million of arms to the Houthis. You think this was an even trade? The WNBA is nothing more than the WWE with women in basketball shorts.
And to make matters worse, literally, when you consider the possible biological advantages Brittney has been concealing under the guise of gender, identity. The assault becomes less about dirty play and more about unfair dominance. The entire trash white girl tirade feels like putting gasoline on a fire that has been simmering quietly in the background. And you want hypocrisy. Brittney has been caught on camera assaulting Caitlin Clark with the subtlety of a wrecking ball. Let's speak about how the WNBA has been promoting fairness and inclusivity for years while ignoring these obvious issues. Telling everyone that they are all unique snowflakes while allowing one player to dominate the sport with an unfair advantage and a dash of bigotry is equivalent to, I promise you that if Brittney were a straight white girl, she wouldn't be pushing her way to titles. Instead, she would likely be benched sooner than you could say virtue signal. And then there's the whole Instagram AI controversy. Remember that video that started to go viral? That might just be a glitch, but with all the other medical questions accumulating, it's the ideal metaphor for the WNBA's entire approach. A system that is deaf to facts, blind to reality, and desperate to protect a player who might not fit the league's own rules. Brittney's Instagram posted a topless video that somehow slipped past the platform's AI, which is supposed to flag female nudity instantly. Instead, the AI appears to be so confused that it just gave her a free pass, treating the content as though it belonged to a male athlete.
That the WNBA is, well, we know it's not a serious league, but it seems like maybe they are trying to hide something. They certainly do not want anybody with an opposing viewpoint covering their league. Now, mind you, this is a league that's never turned a profit. This is a league that, even with Caitlin Clark having joined this league last year, lost $40 million.
It used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now it's like there's a large gathering of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score like we're there for their entertainment. And that's pretty gross.
Let's give credit where credit is due, though. Brittney's worry is reasonable since she is facing a future in which her eligibility may be questioned. Not just the humiliation of those racist remarks, or even the attack on Clark. If the medical community's demands for chromosome testing, hormone levels, and bone density scans are fulfilled, Brittney's records will be cleared and her reputation destroyed. She could also become the face of the reason why sports leagues require strict biological verification, not just I identify as policies, and let's not even discuss the legal mess that is still pending. If it turns out that Brittney has been competing under false pretenses, lawsuits are going to come down harder than a slam dunk. Just think of all the athletes who lost out because of this woke loophole lining up to claim damages. The financial fallout alone could bankrupt a small. Instead of embracing transparency or setting a precedent for fairness, they're hiding behind a wall of silence and damage control. Perhaps they believe that ignoring the issue will make it go away, but it won't.
That's going to bump up to about $220 million a year, but even that won't matter if something happens and Caitlin Clark's ratings disappear, like they have now that she's been injured. But that is not teaching this league anything. A couple of weeks ago, and even though it went viral, it somewhat got lost in the shuffle. Brittney Griner's effing white girl trash comments that was caught on video. Some people tried to claim it was effing whack call. I'm sorry.
Because, in the end, women's sports are meant to be about fair competition among women. When you allow players with male biological advantages to enter the league because identity trumps biology, you're not just breaking the rules. You're breaking the entire playing field. And if Brittney Griner continues to play in the WNBA without any accountability or testing, what does that say to all the female athletes who work tirelessly to compete on an even playing field and are told that their efforts are futile? This isn't just a Brittney Griner issue. It's a crisis that has been rocking the very foundation of women's sports for years. Leagues like the WNBA have claimed to support equality and empowerment, but they have covertly allowed biological realities to be ignored in the name of political correctness. This isn't about hate or discrimination. It's think about maintaining the competitive spirit which every athlete deserves. Because biology matters, sex has always divided sports. The muscular mass of male and female bodies differs significantly. Ignoring these distinctions isn't progressive, it's irresponsible. Bone density, lung capacity, and hormone levels aren't just trivia. They produce advantages and disadvantages that determine how athletes perform. Brittney Griner is now the face of this carelessness. When specialists point out that Gurrier's physical attributes are more in line with male genetics, it's not an attack on her identity. Rather, it's a demand to maintain fair play. The medical community's mounting worries are based on decades of scientific research, not some fringe voices.
On purpose, it's very disruptive. It's called the freaking game that they pay you money to play. Don't play the game. It's very disruptive. It continues. Brittney Griner voiced frustration in a recent interview, claiming that Caitlin Clark is ruining what used to make the WNBA great. Wait for this.
Empty stands? This is why the WNBA is never, ever, ever going to work and never make money. And this is exactly what Caitlin Clark gets for bending the knee. Do you guys remember when she said, when we lost all respect for her, when she said, I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. And the more we can elevate black women, this is going to be a beautiful thing. That's when it was all over. And Angel Reese and Brittney Griner, they walk around like the league owes them something. Even Ryan Clark's attitude as if, bro, where's the victimhood? These are freaking millionaires. Like, what are you talking about? It's attitude, it's no humility, just entitlement, and that's not confidence, it's arrogance.
It's not only unfair, but it's disheartening. And what's even more concerning is how the WNBA and other governing bodies have responded rather than confronting these difficult questions. Imagine being a female basketball player who trains for years, giving up sweat and tears to earn a chance at glory, only to have that shot taken by someone who, despite identifying as a woman, possesses natural physical advantages that can't be erased by hormone therapy or self-identification alone. Directly, they have opted for obfuscation and quiet, as though acknowledging the issue would disrupt their carefully constructed image of inclusivity. But the harsh reality is as follows. When fairness is sacrificed for inclusivity, it is not inclusivity at all. It is betrayal. Safety is more important than mere competition fairness. Women's sports are not only recreational, they are physically demanding, high impact, and occasionally cruel. When athletes compete on uneven terrain, their risk of injury increases, yet the league appears determined to ignore these issues rather than openly confront them.
Once revealed in an ESPN interview, the struggle she faced with her body and outward appearance when she was growing up. Yes, she's very flat-chested. Listen, there's arguments about there. There's arguments out there about people that think she's not a biological woman. I ain't gonna argue with you too hard. Fact checkers say she is, but just essentially is completely flat-chested.
Additionally, let's be clear that this isn't about dismantling people or taking away their freedom to live as they see fit. Rather, it's about preserving the competitive environment that women's sports have worked so hard to create, honoring the sacrifices made by female athletes, and making sure that their efforts aren't negated by laws that, if anything, don't reflect physical realities. Brittney Griner's predicament ought to serve as a reminder that sports leagues must create precise, scientifically based eligibility standards that honor both identity and biology. Contentious, but ignoring the problem won't solve it. These women put forth a lot of effort to compete on an even playing field, but their opportunities are limited due to inadequate regulation. If this issue is not resolved, the repercussions could be disastrous. Sponsors may withdraw, supporters may lose faith, and the reputation of women's sports could be permanently tarnished. Is not an exaggeration. If governing entities keep putting appearances before justice, it is a genuine possibility.
WNBA is committed to eradicating racism, along with criticism and most other isms. Now, of course, feminism is allowed along with feminine masculinism. A week or so into the season, Bob Griner potentially violated the no space for hate policy. Bob was caught on video speaking blasphemous rhetoric towards the Great White Hope, but for some reason, Kat Engelbert is choosing to ignore it. Kat Engelbert can't find the interest to even launch an investigation.
Hero, at the end of the day, women's sports aren't just entertainment. They're a hard-fought battleground for equality, opportunity, and dignity. For the athletes and fans who feel deceived, it's time to demand accountability, call out the silence, push for transparency, and support women who are fighting for more than just medals. Yes, Brittney Griner's story is more than just a headline. It's a symptom of a much larger crisis, and if it's not addressed head-on, the repercussions will extend well beyond the WNBA courts, upending the very future of women's athletics globally. Being overtaken by politics and double standards does a disservice to everyone who cares about the game.